Hey, yo, how's it going? SixftHax here. Have for y'all today the team builder for week number 2 of the WBE, where your Durham Druddigons are taking on the Miami Dolphins, coached by Kyle A. His channel link and stuff will be down in the description for you guys to go ahead and check out, as well as link to the rest of the amazing roster this season and where you guys could cop your own Durham Druddigon merchandise. Also, shouts out to my front office homies, which will also be linked probably somewhere like in the middle of the description or like very bottom. So yeah, shouts out to them for helping me build for this matchup here. Now, of course, if you guys do enjoy, hit that thumbs up button down below. Also, let me know in the comment section below what is your favorite weather setter in the draft league format, because as you can see from our opponent's team, he has Pelipper and Torkoal, which means he's got double weather going into this matchup. So for those of you who saw my week 1 game, you might notice something potentially different about our background. I'm not entirely too sure if I will be editing the background or not, but if I do, please let me know how you guys like this in the comment section below, and if you would rather me do this instead of how I did week 1 with just the plain background. Also, I'm going to be showing the finalized stats after EV spreads as opposed to the base stats like I did in week 1. So along with letting me know what your favorite weather setter is, let me know if you guys potentially like this extra or 2 extra changes for future team builders, which again, it does take a bit of time to do this, so your support is greatly appreciated, and thank you everybody for the amazing support in our week 1 builder. So let's take a look at our matchup here. The biggest issue honestly going into this game, and the biggest issue that I'm still really struggling with, is that I have no idea what exactly 6 Pokemon Kyle is gonna want to bring. Now, I have an idea of maybe like 3 or 4 Pokemon that I definitely feel like are coming to this game. Then the issue with that is he going to want to bring double weather to this game? Is he going to want to bring sun? Is he going to want to bring rain? Is he going to want to bring no weather at all and just hope that I over prep for it? I don't know what Kyle is going to want to bring to this game. And the scary thing about Kyle is definitely his prep. When it comes to prepping, Kyle can definitely bust out some very terrifying and interesting sets, and they can definitely catch his opponents off guard, and that's what I'm mainly scared of going into this battle. So the main mons that I expect are going to be Cresselia, Nidoqueen, and Heliolisk. Heliolisk offensively is just absolutely phenomenal in this game, so I expect it to potentially be a Life Orb, maybe Choice Specs. I don't think Choice Scarf makes a lot of sense, and I don't think it gets any real terrifying speed boosting Z move. Nidoqueen makes a lot of sense because of the fact that it's an amazing stealth rocker, stops my Steelix, my Alolan Muk, and potentially my Cradilly as well if it is a Life Orb Sheer Force set, but I don't think it'll be Sheer Force. I definitely expect it to maybe be a little bit more bulky, but because he's bringing Nidoqueen, that means I don't expect them to want to bring Deontay. Nidoqueen plus Deontay is a little bit odd to come to this game, so I really feel like Nidoqueen is coming over Deontay. And then the third mon I fully expect them to bring is going to be Cresselia, but of course the issue with Cresselia is that if he brings Rain, then Cresselia isn't recovering as much HP, so it could be some just weird like 50% berry set if it were in Rain, or if he does bring Sun, then in the Sun is getting back 66% HP. And Kyle is a type of player that I would definitely bet money on him not bringing something like Rest Talk, Calm Mind, Cresselia, so I'm not necessarily concerned about that. But Cresselia, Nidoqueen, and Helios are definitely the 3 mons that I think could come to this battle. A 4th mon could be one of his weather setters. Kingdra, whether it be in rain or sun, is just absolutely terrifying to deal with. Choice specs, especially offensive, the Critdra set, Dragon Dance, Resto Chesto, Sub, like any type of offensive Kingdra is so scary in this game that I need to find out what set it's running very early on if I want to deal with it. And then for 6 mon, it could be Mega Pidgeot because its speed tier is so good, and Hurricane never missing, and Confusing is really annoying. Victory Rebel and Sun could be a little bit of a nuisance depending on the set that is running. Volcanion I don't think would come if he brings Kingdra or if he brings Pelipper, but if he does bring Volcanion and Sun, Specs Fire Blast just basically could just get a kill. And then Deontay, I already mentioned, I don't think he brings Deontay and Nidoqueen, and Nidoqueen is definitely the better of the two in this game. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into our first team member here, which is going to be Bailey, aka Reuniclus. The reason why we were able to come out victorious in week number 1 is starting off our squad here for week number 2. And this is why I just absolutely love Reuniclus, because of matchups like this where I can honestly just run mono psychic stab, because the rest of my team can be tailor-made to deal with really the only answer he has for my Reuniclus, which is Cresselia. So you guys will see how the team fits in with this Reuniclus set. So I could have very well have gone Iron Defense over Trick Room, but you're going to see that the theme of this team is always guaranteeing that I have some type of speed control. So with Trick Room here, we're able to deal with his very speedy offensive mons. Even if my speedier threats are gone, then I can bring in my slower threats in Trick Room and pressure his speedy, fragile offense. So that's why I figured that Trick Room as our final setup was probably going to be a little bit better. Not to mention that once I'm able to status or get rid of Cresselia, after I get up 2 Calm Minds, I can then just Trick Room, and Reuniclus basically just kind of goes on a rampage. At +1 Psyche MZ, basically OHKOs anything and everything that is not called Cresselia, which even then, if we're able to wear it down to I think like 30-ish% depending on the spread, we can knock it out with the Psychium Z at +1, which is ridiculous, by the way, because we already know Cresselia is just absurdly bulky. So I figured that Calm Mind, Trick Room were probably our best bets as our setup to run in this matchup. Now, yeah, I could have run like Shadow Ball maybe, but honestly, again, I have 5 other team members that are going to help me to either status Cresselia or get rid of it. And again, I don't expect Kyle to bring mono attacking Rest Talk because we have Alolan Muk, so that would just make absolutely no sense in my opinion. So yeah, hoping that Reuniclus here can definitely put in a lot of work. Because of our EV spread, we always avoid a 2-hit KO from Timid Hurricanes from Mega Pidge, and there should be no way that a non-boosted Kingdra should ever one-shot us, so we can live a hit, Trick Room, and potentially knock it out with a Psychium Z Psyshock, which is amazing. Psychic would be nice, but it's only more beneficial to hit Torkoal for way more damage, but I'm not really too concerned about Torkoal because if I get on my hazards, I should be able to pressure it accordingly and it shouldn't be that big of an issue. So our next team member is going to be Lacey Evans, aka Mega Lopunny, and this was a set that I actually came up with myself. This was the very first Lopunny set that I originally touched on, and the rest of my front office figured that it was actually a good enough set, because the thing about this matchup is, again, I fully do not expect them to bring Deontay. I don't expect them to bring it whatsoever, just because Nidoqueen's matchup is so good in this game. And in this matchup, Nidoqueen and Deontay kind of do the exact same thing, but Nidoqueen just does it so much better. Which means I genuinely think I don't need any type of fighting stab, which means I have access to running double priority and fake out and quick attack, plus also being able to run toxic. So this is the first of our toxic mons to deal with Cresselia. Now, yes, he could have a very fat Nidoqueen. So the issue with trying to toxic something is that if Nidoqueen is in the back and Cresselia is in the back, which one is he going to want to switch into my Lopunny? I'm hoping that it will be Cresselia, so then that way I can catch it on a predicted switch in, and if I'm able to toxic Cresselia, then that basically just means Reuniclus can come in, Calm Mind, Trick Room, and I win. Because once Cresselia is toxic, it's basically crippled. It should never be able to beat my Reuniclus 1v1 at that point, and then I can Calm Mind up against it, get to like +6 Calm Mind, Trick Room, and just easily sweep. So that's what I'm hoping will happen with me being able to lure in the Cresselia. I can toxic it, and then I am still doing pretty good damage to the Nidoqueen, roughly about 30% every return. So eventually I will be able to beat it down and put it in range of a return will 2-hit KO Nidoqueen regardless, and then once I Toxic Cresselia, then I can always just spam return against it as well. Fake Out and Quick Attack are amazing for things like Kingdra, Heliolisk, I guess a Scarf Volcanion, but again I don't expect Volcanion, Victory Bell and Sun, and I guess Mega Pidge, but we are running enough speed to outspeed Mega Pidge, so Fake Out into return after Rocks should definitely knock that out. I guess you could have like Scarf Pelipper, which I think outspeeds Lopunny with this spread. I'm not entirely too sure, but at the same time, I don't know what kind of Pelipper set he's gonna run, so I'm hoping it won't be something very, very scary. So moving on to our next team member, we got Okada, aka Manaphy. Shouts out to my boy Zazo, aka Iron Flash Gaming, for coming up with the set. Now this set does kind of have its flaws. The main issue being that Heliolisk is, I definitely think, 100% coming to this game, but at the same time, I don't think he's gonna bring something like Scarf or Spect Heliolisk, in my opinion. Again, Life Orb or Z-Move just makes so much more sense because Heliolisk likes switching up its offensive moves in order to deal with the rest of my team that could potentially counter it if it is choiced and locked into the wrong move. So that's where this set could still definitely come in handy. Now, the main idea of this set is to set up on Cresselia. So again, I'm trying to take advantage of Cresselia and get rid of it, so my Reuniclus can come in, Calm Mind, and Trick Room. So again, that's another theme of the team here. Also, again, we're back to speed control. We had Trick Room on Bailey, we had Priority on Lopunny, and now we have Select Berry on Manaphy. Now, obviously, Select Berry is not going to be too beneficial in potential Rain or Sun for Kingdra and Victory Bell respectively, but if I am behind a substitute at +3, both of those mons are getting absolutely obliterated by a Psychic, especially because I'm modest. Max special attack at +3, Manaphy should be able to 2-KO or OHKO everything that Kyle wants to bring. So that's what I'm hoping that Manaphy can do in this set. I can try to set up on Cresselia, activate my +1 speed, and then from there I should outpace everything that is not double boosted in Rain and that is not Choice Scarf, and hopefully Manaphy could also be a potential late game win condition. Also, this does allow Manaphy to act as a bit of a better pivot into some of his offense, but I don't want to play Manaphy like that in this game. I want to play it as a mon that can hopefully set up on Cresselia and just put in a lot of work after getting up a Tail Glow. So moving on to our next team member, we have Cray Burbley, aka Craydilly, making his debut for the Durham Druddigons. This is literally the first time I have ever in my life, in my draft league career, used Craydilly in a battle, and man, is it really, really pressured. So initially, I wasn't even going to bring Stealth Rocks to this game, but the more I thought about it, the more that I realized getting up Rocks in this matchup is actually really, really good for me. So I decided to go with this finalized Craydilly set. Shouts out to my boy Jolt. And the main thing I just want Craydilly to do in this game is get up Rocks. If he brings Kingdra, then of course having Storm Drain is going to be amazing. If he brings Pelipper, then being able to absorb its Water Stabs will also be amazing. And Volcanion rapes me with Fire Blast regardless, unless it's in the Rain. So if he does bring Rain, I'm not worried about Volcanion. If he brings Sun, then Volcanion is still a little bit scary. But we do have Manaphy at the same time. It's just, see, this is what I mean, dude. Like, there's so much thought process that honestly went into me building this team that I don't know what Kyle's last 3 mons are going to be. They can literally be anything, and I just need to try and prepare for everything except Deontay, because I genuinely don't expect Deontay at all to come to this game. So Recover for recovery, Stealth Rocks for hazards, Seed Bomb neutrally hits absolutely everything except Victory Bell. And if it weren't for Nidoqueen, I think I would have gone Rock Tomb over Seed Bomb, but just being able to get off some decent damage on Nidoqueen, which is already really annoying to my team, is going to be amazing. And then Toxic, of course, is for Cresselia. We can also catch the Pelipper, I guess the Kingdra, even Torkoal, potentially even Mega Pidge, I suppose, but Toxic is really only there for Cresselia along with our Lopunny, because again, once Cress is Toxic, I basically just win with the Reuniclus. So this is the only Mon I think on my team that does not have some type of speed control, but at the same time it doesn't let Kingdra just freely set up. And for Victory Bell, as long as I have Reuniclus and our next team member here, which is Alolan Muck, then Victory Bell shouldn't be that big of an issue in Sun, because as you can see, we do have the very fancy tech in a Scary Face. Now, a couple reasons why I went Scary Face over something like Rock Tomb or Curse. Main reason being that as long as he's got Nidoqueen in this game, I am doing nothing with Alolan Muck. It doesn't matter if I Curse, he's going to Earth Power me and obliterate me, and I can still get off some damage with Knockoff if it really comes down to it. So if it wasn't for Nidoqueen, I probably would have had Curse as our final move. But the nice thing about Curse is that with it being able to drop something like Kingdra, Speed, Victory, Bell, Mega Pidge, and Heliolisk, dropping all their speed by -2 opens up the gates for something like my Manaphy offensively wise to come in and be a much bigger threat for him to deal with. Plus, it also does help my Mega Lopunny. While yes, we do have double priority, there is no guarantee that I will have his very speedy Mons that naturally outspeed my Lopunny in range of a Fake Out plus Quick Attack. So if I'm able to -2 speed Kingdra and Victory Bell, I just bring in Lopunny for free and I can just click return and absolutely blow them back. So much like Cradily being used for the first time by me, this is the first time I'm ever using Scary Face. So I'm hoping that it does prove to be very, very handy. And then we have Knockoff and Poison Jab just as our stab moves, because they hit everything neutrally or super effectively that is not Deontay, which I already talked about Deontay. So yeah, moving on to our final team member, we have Jericho, aka Silvally Fairy. I definitely feel like I was forced once again back into bringing Silvally Fairy, but I already said this in my draft analysis. I genuinely do not care if I bring Silvally Fairy every single week, because Silvally Fairy is already so beneficial to my team and the abundance of offensive threats that we have. And this is definitely a important role that I need Silvally to play here, because with Tailwind, we're able to outspeed Kingdra and Victory Bell in their respected weather, so long as Kingdra is not Timid max speed and Victory Bell, actually no, I think even if Victory Bell is Jolly max speed, we outspeed it in the Sun. But the thing about Kingdra is that I don't think it's going to be a speed boosting nature regardless, so after Tailwind, we should be able to outspeed it, and then we could potentially Parting Shot, try to get off a little bit more damage with like Ice Beam or Thunderbolt, and then go from there. Or we can just initially Parting Shot out against Kingdra if it really comes down to it. But with our speed, we're able to outrun a Timid or Jolly max speed Nidoqueen, which honestly I feel like this speed creep is a little bit more than we needed, but I would rather be safe than sorry against Nidoqueen, because if he does bring in offensive Nidoqueen, that could actually be a little bit of an issue. Again, so long as he's not Life Orb Nidoqueen, then we should be able to deal with Nidoqueen accordingly. So yeah, if anything, I have Silvally to at least try and surprise Nidoqueen and then outspeed it. We are running a lot of Spadef because, again, if you look at Kyle's team, a majority of it is just specially offensive. The only real physical offense that he could bring is something like Dragon Dance Kingdra, which I don't expect, but I guess Swift Swim Dragon Dance would be very scary. Dude, Kingdra is so annoying. I don't know. I honestly don't know what set Kingdra could run in this game, and that's what's really, really annoying. But I'm hoping regardless of the set, we can deal with it. I'm pretty positive that so long as he's not spexed, banded, or boosted in some type of way, Silvally should live one hit. We can then Tailwind or Parting Shot or pick it off with Ice Beam or Thunderbolt and then go from there. So yeah, that is going to be our final 6 for this matchup in week number 2 of the WBE. Again, let me know if you like the potential background change, the stats change, and what your favorite weather setter is in the Draft League format in the comment section below. Hit that thumbs up button as well, because it does help support the channel, and of course your guys' support is greatly, greatly appreciated. So thank you so much, and with that being said, I will see you all tomorrow on Saturday with the week 2 battle. So later, everybody.
Cause my brain and heart are both tied in the knot, and this hinders me from crying a lot. This causing me to show no emotion. But when I said I cared, I wasn't joking. But I guess it's too late for me to become broken. For now, I'm living with no more pain, tears, or hoping. I'm just coasting. Yeah, I said I'm coasting. No more pain, tears, and hoping. For real.